Hey, welcome back. This is our third and final installment of Writing for Blogs. Now we're actually going to focus on the actual writing part. Now that we've set up the blog, we understand the role that blogs play in society a little bit better. Now we're going to get down to like brass tacks. How do we write? How is it different? So again, some things that you need to keep in mind is that there are differences, okay? The first one is that it's your job as the writer to attract and keep people's attention. Like nothing's a given. Like nobody gets paid to read your blog except for me. So you want to, keep that in mind as you write to try to hook and lure people in. Another difference is that you order information differently than most things that you write. It's similar, again, to the inverted pyramid that we learned about in the press release lesson that we did. And then you usually, fascinating fact, get 1 point per post. All right. So if you have a topic, make your post about that one topic, because usually, people click to read on a blog post because they're interested in whatever the title and first sentences are. If they get into it and find that you've snuck in a second topic that they don't care about, they get angry with you. So you want to limit it to 1 point per post. You can always write more posts about different topics. And again, akin to news writing. So step one, choosing a topic. How do we do this? What are the ways? Here are some tips. So a thing to keep in mind is that when you choose a topic, it can be too daunting or too easy. Some people can be like, oh, I just can't choose a topic. It's so hard. And other people are like, oh, I thought of something. And usually both of those are bad. Because you don't want to rush the process, and you just want to, again, let ideas percolate. And so whenever you come up with topics, it's usually good to follow some kind of process, all right? So a lot of people will keep like a written or a mental list of ideas as they go about their day, and they can come up with stuff. So again, if you're writing for like Southern States and you're that blog person and you're out talking to people in the field, or you attend like a farm bureau meeting and people are like, oh man, I wish I knew more about this, you can write that down and then keep it, all right? You can also sit down and brainstorm topics with other people, like other members of your group. This is the thing that I would suggest you doing. If this is your optional lesson, it's totally okay to sit down with the members of your group and say, what would be a good topic, and then have them help you. Another thing that people do is mind mapping, which is just where you draw out a fancy, it looks like this. Whenever you draw out things on a board or on a piece of paper, and then figure out how they link to one another. And sometimes they may merge together, and that works good for you. You realize that two topics are actually one broader topic that might be more interesting to people. But whatever you do, don't blog the first thing that comes to mind. Like spend some time thinking about it in a systematic way. All right, other things, whenever you're choosing a topic, this is things that will make your blog more readable. Try to either identify a need or have a goal. Like, we don't just write to write, like write with a purpose. Another thing that you can do is picture a specific reader. Whenever I used to write my blogs for 4-H, I always pictured this one sort of ideal volunteer that I had, and her name is Kelly Crosby. And so I would always keep Kelly in mind as I was writing. I was like, what would Kelly be interested in? What would she understand? Maybe that's helpful for you if you're writing, for the golf course blog. Maybe a particular golf pro or golf manager that would want to know about this, and you can kind of keep them in mind as you write. Write something that matters to you, obviously, because it'll, that'll resonate, like it'll make it sound more interesting. Write something that's topical or current, one of the good things about blogging is that it can be really immediate. Like you can sit down, write something, hit publish, and then it's there. Doesn't have to go through a lot of editing, doesn't have to go through committee, it's just there. And so it allows it to be more topical and current than some other formats. Again, one topic per post, and plan ahead. So if you have, say you go to that Farm Bureau meeting and you're thinking of, that like people mentioned they would really like to learn about, X, like jump starting calves in the winter, but it's summer, so maybe you write that down. I'm going to write and publish this in, November or whatever, whenever it would be appropriate. So you can keep a running list of things to do. All right, step 2, crafting a title. You can always go out of order here. Like you can always come back and write your title later, but we're just going to keep it in order. So just remember this. A lot of people write the title as an afterthought. They're like, oh, I wrote a blog. Now it needs a title. Here's a title. And then they name it like calves. And that's terrible because the title is the determiner of whether or not your post gets read. It's the first thing that people read, all right? And so if they're blogging or going through your blog, it's the thing that pops up first. Also, whenever people share this information, if it gets shared via Twitter or like other social media like on Facebook, what pops up? The title, not, the main topic or some kind of summary or something. It's just the title. It's also what search engines search, and it's also a lot of times what other people in other bloggers will link to. So your title is important. I'm going to talk about ways in a moment to make it snappy, but just know that it's important. And you can write it at any point, but it must match the story. So here are some tips for writing, in blog form. And you'll notice that these are more informal than if you were writing a headline for a newspaper. So communicate a benefit. 10 college application musts. Like, oh, I got to know what they're must. I must know what they are. So that's a good thing. You could create a controversy or a debate. UF far superior to all other schools ever. That would probably make people read. You could pose a question, Star Wars or Star Trek. Nerds, please click here. Personalize the title, your summer vacation destination. And I want to know, where am I going? This is my summer vacation destination. I'm going to click on that more so than if it were named, say, go to the Bahamas. No, so, all right. Other things that you can do, you can use keywords. They can grab the reader's attention if they're topical. And also, it creates a flashpoint in the memory when the posts get old, because your post will get old and they'll just be there forever on the archive. And so, a title that says like, oh, Congress really sucks right now, that could be any time in the past 15 years, or more. But if you were like, congressional gridlock leads to shutdown, shutdowns only happen like 2 or 3 times in recent history. And so that, is more specific. It's also just a better title. You can use power words like easy, free, stunning, discover, free. These are sort of things, you've heard of clickbaiting. That's totally okay to do. All right. And then you can always use a funny title, Squirrels on Crack. All right. Oh, I thought that was done. Man, that would have been a great way to end because it would have been funny. But anyway, so crafting a title, lastly, just keep it succinct, easy to digest. You don't need a long academic sounding style, like jump starting calves, a like expository, explanation of the benefits of nutrition on bovine species during the autumnal equinox and beyond. No. I just made all that up off the top of my head. So that's why, that jump starting your calves in the winter, that worked better because it's succinct. Don't use periods. I don't know why. But you don't use periods because it's not a sentence. All right, step number 3, that first paragraph. Remember in news writing where the first paragraph was so incredibly important and we called it the lead. Most people don't call it the lead in blogging, but that's essentially what it is. So you can think of it as the second most important words in your post because if people read the title and they think, oh, this is interesting, what are they going to read? The first paragraph. And the first paragraph should like sort of, get them hooked in and then also give them basic information about the story, just like in news writing. So you're looking to 1 to 2 sentences, again, 30 to 50 words. And then its job is to draw people in and set the tone of the post. So what is the story about? What is most interesting about the story? Most unique about the story? Be sure to convey that up front, because if you don't hook them up front, they're never going to find out what that is because they'll stop reading. All right. First paragraph tips. Again, identify a need. Try to satisfy people's needs. Ask a question where the answer is yes. Do you enjoy free things? Yes. I want to read on. You could pose any other intriguing question, say something unexpected, tell a story or analogy, make a claim or a promise. By the end of this post, you will be better looking. That's a thing that you can do. You can never do that in news writing, but you can do it in blogging. All right. Other things, you could make a controversial statement. You could use statistics. 8 out of 10 people love statistics. It's good to start with statistics. You could also start with a quote. This is one from Mark Twain. Or you could use an image. This is actually a blog that I had to write about obesity. So I was despite news reports, people do have heads because they always cut off people's heads on the news. Anyway, this is terrible. But if you read my actual blog, it's much more fair and balanced. Step number 4. This is like once you've written your blog, so you've written the lead, the summary paragraph, everything else. you want to go back and try to make it better. All right. And these are tips to make it count, like make your post answer the so what question. Remember, you're competing for attention, so you need to ask yourself, so what? The best writing in the world, like the best, use of language, will not make up for a blog that conceptually doesn't have a purpose. Or doesn't have a clear aim or goal. So, it doesn't matter how flowery and beautiful your prose are. If there's no benefit to the reader, they're going to stop reading. So doing the hard work up front of figuring out why you're writing, what is your goal, is equally important. So think about, what is the point that you're trying to make? What am I trying to communicate? What is my goal? These are all ways of getting at the same question. What impact do I want to have? What benefits is this to the reader? If you can answer all of these questions succinctly, you'll probably have a really good post, and it's meant to focus your writing. A lot of posts don't have the so what question answered because of laziness is one. People just don't know how to write well. Distractions are another, and then deadlines is the third one. Like, oh, I waited to the last minute to do this. Maybe this is you right now. And so, it turned out pretty crappy. Other tips to make it count before you write. Write out a goal. You want it to teach, to inform, to entertain, to inspire, to call to action. Each of these, leads to a different type of post. And as you write, keep asking yourself, am I achieving, my goal? And then realize too that as you write, your goal may change. You may be like, oh, I thought it was this thing, but it's actually this other thing, and then you can go back and make everything match. All right, cool. This is like a word to the wise. Don't try to achieve too much in a single post. Don't be epic. So you would never be like, I'm going to teach you everything you need to know about winter calving, and then have it be like 45 pages, because nobody would read it. And so what a better way to do it is if you have a really good topic, that can be split off, just make several posts over time, and then for people that really enjoy that thread of topics can come back again and again and get new posts. So don't be epic. Try to achieve one thing at a time. Lastly, step number 5 is the call to action. And so for those of you who are maybe in business, but especially in having a nonprofit organization with a cause, this may be very important to you. And so essentially, a call to action is just like if you want your readers to do something at the end of your post, you need to ask them to do it. And so if it's as simple as you want them to comment, invite them to comment. So please comment, leave me comments. I'd love to hear from you. If you want them to subscribe to your post, ask them. If you want them to come back for future posts about winter calving, ask them. Say, in the future, we're going to be revisiting this winter calving. Please come back. And you can ask them to share on Facebook. People, they're very happy to help you if you give them, the hint of how to help you. All right. And so we may think, oh, we're asking them to do us a favor, and that's bad. No, actually, they've found through research that, if they're, latching on to your mission, if they believe in the same things that you believe in, and then you ask them to do something for you, what it actually leads to is not resentment, but engagement, loyalty, and action. So, some call to action tips. Know what you want them to do, and then you get one call per post. All right. So if you're writing like a political post, you don't get to be like, I want you to write your senator, and then in the next paragraph, don't forget to come to the rally, and then don't forget to tip over cars. Like that, you get one thing. All right. Second thing to consider: make the action simple, specific, and achievable. So you would never say, "So get out there and solve hunger," because what is that? How do you do that? But if you want them to donate cans of food to X shelter before March, then that's a thing that they can do. In-post calls to action work best, so things that are just actually in the text of the reading. You can actually physically highlight the call to action with actual highlights, like make it yellow. And then if you ask them to do something, you can also describe, the benefit of that, for them or for somebody. And so if you're asking them to bring food, you might back that up with, we're helping to solve the homeless problem in our community, blah, blah, blah. And then they sort of get a clearer picture of how, whenever they respond to your call, it will help them and help people. Always mix it up. Don't ask for the same thing every time, unless you're Bob Barker and you want to ask people to help spay or control the pet population, or help control the pet population, have your pet spayed or neutered. And then always ask with confidence. Don't be like, oh, it would be so nice if you guys would consider. No, just ask them. All right. Lastly, adding depth to your post. This is a lot of tips. And I'm not going to put this in the video because it would essentially be me reading them to you. But I'm going to upload this PowerPoint so that you can go and read through these if you would like to get like bonus information, because I'm trying to keep the videos fairly short. They're pretty straightforward. So thank you for listening. Good luck writing your blogs. I look forward to reading them. I always get to learn about really cool things.